Hey, see that cute guy walking this way? Yeah, that's Mr. Wrong. Trust me. Let's keep walking. So that's the first thing I tell 40-year-old me. I met him on my 40th birthday. But after we got that out of the way, I'd want to talk to her about money. And I don't think I'd start by telling her you should have saved more. I'd start by telling her that money buys options. I can see that so clearly now that I'm almost 60, but I definitely didn't understand it at 40. I was too busy staying afloat. Looking back now, I can see how many decisions I made because financially I didn't feel like I had any other choices. I remember moving someplace a little sketch because I didn't have enough of a safety net to come up with a bigger first and last month's rent for somewhere else. And I felt that desperation of, I'm just going to do it. I leased a brand new car once when I was young because I didn't have much credit. And it was easier, this annoys me to death that they've sort of set the system up like this. It was easier for me to get credit for a brand new car than it was to get a decent used car and get financing for that. And it's so, of course, then you get stuck in that lease loop for a while. And I justified it to myself that I needed a good car because I didn't have anybody to come pick me up off the side of the road. And I was stuck in that loop for a while. And because it was easier to just keep doing it at the end of a lease than actually save in between there, yeah, you stay in that loop for a while. So that's something I wish I had understood much earlier, is sometimes the easiest financial choice available to you is the one that will limit your choices tomorrow. And that's basically the part I didn't understand, is when you don't have a financial margin, you don't get to choose. You choose from the limited options available and that you can afford. And maybe this has happened to you. Maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe you also took the apartment you could get into and made the car deal that you could do, and you solved the problem that was sitting in front of you that day because you didn't have enough financial margin to give yourself options. I wish 40-year-old me had understood how freeing it feels to have just accessible money sitting there just in case you need it. How worth it is to forego all the extras just to have that cushion. I'm not talking about retirement money, not money tied up somewhere that you're afraid to take out, just a good cash cushion. And I think I'd go the next level with 40-year-old me and say that for years when I did have savings, I just put it into a regular old savings account that matched my checking account. And that was just fine. But I didn't really think about the high yield interest savings, or I didn't compare interest rates at all. I was a very head in the sand person about money. Like if I didn't look it in the eye, it didn't exist and I wouldn't feel the stress of it. And now that I do know what these high yield interest accounts get you, I realize there are two benefits. Obviously you earn more interest, but there's something that's very motivating about watching your money make money. I think 40-year-old me who'd been treading water for years would have liked that motivation. But I also think she would have hopefully listened to me if I told her that every dollar you put in that account is buying you a little more breathing room for things coming up. A little more ability to say yes or no or not yet, or actually I have another option. That's what I wish I had understood about savings. It was about freedom. Even at 40, retirement felt incredibly far away. And honestly, I'd been in survival mode in one form or another since junior year in high school. So when you're focused on getting through what is happening right now, it can be really hard to care about something that might happen in 25 years. And I think like many people, I assumed that eventually I would get married. There would be two incomes, there would be two people figuring this stuff out, and I wouldn't be doing retirement alone. And I wish I could go back and tell my 40-year-old self, don't build your financial future around somebody that doesn't exist yet. And spoiler alert, you still have not won the lottery. Build a financial life that works for you. And if somebody wonderful comes along, yay! You two can work and build on that life together. But stop postponing taking care of yourself because you assume eventually somebody's going to come and share the load. There were financial compromises I was willing to make over the years. Like I drove a Saturn. That's terrible. Sorry, Saturn. But marrying somebody for financial security was where I drew the line. No amount of money was worth that to me. And I think my mom's still upset because there are a couple of my exes that are multimillionaires now. Oh well. So knowing that I stubbornly wouldn't marry for money, I wish I had understood that I needed to build my own security. And I also wish that I had realized I did not need to become a financial expert to do that. It was so abhorrent to me to talk about money, to hear about money, that I recoiled from even learning much about it. And that's foolishness. And I didn't have to know everything. I just really would have changed my life to just pay attention to where my money was going. Because the boring little financial decisions you're making right now at 40 don't feel particularly life-changing, but eventually they make or break some big life decisions. Like, can ya leave a job when your boss is an utter psychopath who we now refer to as she who shall not be named? Can you handle a major repair? Can you take an actual go out the house vacation? Can you help somebody you love? Can you build the kind of life you actually want? That's what I understand about retirement money now that I did not understand at 40. Money gives you options. Bold, underline. Money gives you options. So in other words, it isn't just about accumulating some giant number that the finance bros are going to mention so that you someday can stop working. It is about creating enough financial margin that future you gets a vote in her own life. I would also tell 40-year-old me that she's in charge of talking to 20-year-old me. That girl needs to listen. Old me can look backwards now and see the forks in the road where even a little more financial breathing room may have given me other options. That doesn't mean I regret every decision I ever made, but some of them turned out just fine. I just wish I'd had more choices. So I'm so curious, if you're past 40, what would you tell your 40-year-old self about money or about Mr. Wrong? And if you're in your 40s right now, what are you doing right now that you think future you is going to be excited that you did? Like and subscribe, of course, it really does help. But also put those ideas in the comments because I have a feeling we could build a really fun list together. And if this has you thinking about your own retirement, I've put some resources below. You can take my free retirement vibe quiz, check out the workbook, or get some personal help with one-on-one coaching if you want to figure out your own next chapter. You'll find everything in the description. So if I could actually go back and have one last conversation with 40-year-old me, I think I'd keep it pretty simple. First, I'd give her a big hug. She's going through a lot. And then I would tell her to build some financial breathing room. You're gonna feel so much better. Pay attention to your retirement money. Get your head out of the sand. There are some rough patches, but you really come out okay. And you're really happy. Don't assume somebody's eventually gonna show up and make all the numbers magically work out. You got this. Give future you, me, as many choices as you possibly can. And seriously, that hot guy? No. Together, we're building a life we love. I'm GenX Missy. Until next time.